Okay, hello everyone. I have to announce this because we are taping it so that everyone who will look for later will know what is been going on. So welcome to the another Popodne CEU monthly gathering on e-learning. And today we have joined this gathering with the study visit we have organized. Today all talking will be in English and lecture will be in English. For this study visit, we thought that it will be interesting to give you perspective from another point of view, from one practitioner and the one person who was also one time in charge of supporting higher education institutions in implementation of technologies. So I'm very happy to announce that today with us is Mr. Predrag Pale. He's also a teacher at the Faculty of Electronical Engineering and Computing, but he has very rich biography, and I think it will be better if I let him introduce himself. He's going to give us a lecture on supporting educators to use ICT in teaching. So, Mr. Pale, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My background is electrical engineering, and I'm passionate about applying computers to just anything that people do for more than 30 years. 10 years of my life I have spent in building internet in Croatia, and from the very beginning I was recognizing the tremendous potential of internet and personal computers in education. And as teacher at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, I'm trying to implement this. Whatever I preach, I'm trying to do. For the past 12 years, I'm involved in developing various tools to record lectures and convert recorded lectures into useful digital textbooks. And we also develop some other smaller tools. What I came to is finally that the last 2 years we've been analyzing each and every theory of learning we could find. There's more than 50 in 5 paradigms, trying to understand what we know about how people learn in order to find out what actually technology can do for them. To summarize what I'm after, what I'm trying to accomplish with my work is, I try to put it this way, I would like to replace a human being as a teacher with a computer in everything that is possible. So that at the end, what remains is the thing that a human being actually has to do in teaching. So the things that can be replaced by computer, let's not do them. Let's do what only we as people can do. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to find it out. There is a range of questions that we have put in announcement of this lecture today, this talk. Starting, do educators need support to leverage education at all? Why do they need it? What kind of support? Is there a difference between various types of people who teach? What are actually types of support that are needed? Who is the one who should do that? Who can provide it? Who is going to pay? And what should a person do trying to implement technology in his or her education or teaching if there is no support? What to do? First, the first question, and I always try to lay ground to make foundation so as we know what we are talking about. Why do we use ICT in teaching? And I would like to hear you. I would like to hear your answers. Long, short. Why do you want to use technology in teaching?
Because it's what people are using in real life.
It is for?
It's what people and students are using in their day-to-day life.
Because students use technology, so we as teachers want to use technology. Good answer. To make learning be easier. Okay. What are the questions? Well, any answer is good enough. For instance, it's fashionable. Or I can get money for my projects if I say ICT. That's also a good reason. It motivates students. Okay.
It allows self-organized learning.
It allows self-organized learning so that students are more motivated. They're not passive, they're active.
And responsible for that.
And they're responsible for their results. Good. What else? Why do you want to use technology? What do you want to achieve with it? You just want to play, explore? That's also good. The word play has special meaning in my... I have 3 words that are very important in my life. Play, teacher, and master. In Croatian language, when you tell someone that he's a master, they say, no, 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 I'm engineer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm whatever. So mastery is not very good word. For me, master, to be master of something means that I have reached everything in this profession. The same goes for teacher. We have a number of words in Croatian for teaching, in primary schools, secondary schools, at the university. But if somebody would tell me, you know, you're a good teacher, I would be proud as anything. And finally, or the first word is play. Play is a very important thing because I believe that only when we play, we are genuine. We are truly ourselves. In all other situations, we act. Even if we play and we act, like play acting, it's us. When we are serious, when we are frowning, when we are sitting in a conference, this is not us. That's my opinion. Only when we play, we are truly ourselves, and we give and receive. So we have heard, actually, everything you said and much more that can be said is true. Why you want to use the technology in teaching. Probably we would all agree that we could say it is to make teaching better. Now, because I'm going to tell you something that I believe here, it is important and fair for me to tell you what I believe is better teaching so that you understand where I'm coming from. Better teaching for me is deeper and wider knowledge. Now, what is knowledge? We don't have time to go into it. Is it only information? Is it applying it, etc.? But deeper and wider knowledge, better understanding. I took out understanding from the knowledge to emphasize how just having things in my mind is not enough. The concepts, their relationships, how they are applied, this is the understanding. So for me, better teaching is deeper and wider knowledge, better understanding, and 2 additional very important things. Happier students and happier teachers. This is better teaching for me. If students are miserable, if they are lost, if they don't know what is expected from them, if they don't know how good are they doing, it's not good teaching. If teacher is miserable, if teacher is insecure, if teacher is overworked, overtired, it's also not good. So better teaching for me is deeper and wider knowledge, better understanding, and happier students and teachers. Now, coming from this, I would also like to make a statement, almost like a declaration. For me, better teaching is about methodology and not about technology. I'm a technologist. As a kid with 16 years, I started messing around with microprocessors. And ever since, I've applied technology in dozens of human activities. Civil engineering, medicine, law, libraries, education. And I'm passionate about using technology. But technology is not the reason why we do things. It's something that we use to do something. And in teaching, it is about methodology. How do we teach? What do we want to transfer? How do we want to do that? And if technology can help, great, let's use it. So we won't be using, I wouldn't be using any time technology just because it's fun, it's fashionable, it's whatever. Now I would like to hear your opinion. Do people, teachers, educators, however we call ourselves or themselves, do they need support in using technology? Or technology is there, you use it, and do we need support? Yes and no. Hands. Who is for yes? Who is for no? Who can't decide? That's one thing you have to learn when lecturing. That those who didn't raise their hand doesn't mean they are opposite. They just might be indecisive. Okay. Now, if we agree that we do need support, why? What would you say? Why do we need support? We are still not there what kind of support, but why do we need support? Come on, you have some ideas. I need support because I don't know everything. I need somebody to teach me some things. First, why do you need support? To see the possibilities. I don't know what's possible. Somebody has to open my windows or wash them. Okay? I would like to be able to think about things differently. I need to discuss with someone. About the teaching, yes, yes. Okay. Why else I need support? Sorry, I don't hear you.
You may not have the technical know-how.
I might not have the technical skills and know-how and dexterity or whatever. Okay? So, I need support, which means I need help, because I can't. This is a great thing. Whoever is able to wake up in the morning, look her or himself in the mirror and say, hey, I can't do it myself, I need help, is a person on a very good way to improve. If you can't stand the idea that you would say to someone, you know, I can't do it myself, can you help me? No, this is not macho enough, I can't do this, I have to be strong and be possible to do everything by myself, then you have got a problem. So why people need support? Because they can't do it all by themselves. Now, you already answered a little bit to the question, but let's elaborate it a little bit more. What kind of support do you need? We've been talking about knowledge, skills, opening windows, understanding, discussing. What else do we need? In Croatia, everybody would say money. We need financial support, money. I need to buy something. Okay. What else do we need? Now I've taken money away, so what do you have? We would like to have recognition, visibility of our work. We would like that everybody sees what I've done, and that everybody says, oh, Predrag has done great things. We will see, this is one of the very important things. Money, recognition, knowledge, discussion. What else do we have? What do you need? If I know, I think that I'm very skilled in using computers. Some things. I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to make 3D designs, I don't know how to make animations, but other things I can do. So let's say that I'm 50% very literate. But does it help me to design the lecture? Project-based learning? Group exercise? Not really. So what do I need? What kind of support I need? What kind of skills? Not in technology, but rather in methodology, pedagogy, andragogy, whatever. So, obviously we need tools, equipment, money, recognition, knowledge, discussion. We need a lot of things. Everything. Okay. Now, very important thing, and my discussion with you, hopefully discussion, today will be actually based, will be coming from this diagram, which is not very visible. But you see that this is some kind of bell curve, Gaussian curve, okay? And it has something. Well, this curve is supposedly to be Moore's law. And it says, if you're looking at a population, any population, people in your school or your university or whatever, and you apply some kind of change to them, then only so many people will be innovators, those who will invent things, okay? And so many people will be against whatever you can think about. They'll be always against. Well, there is approximately so many people who will say, this is interesting, I want to have it too. Give me one. While here, this huge part of population, they are majority, and we have early and late. And they're different. They're not the same. So when we talk about what kind of support do teachers need, it depends who we talk about. Are we talking about innovators? Those who can't work with the same tool 2 days in a row? They always have something new and experiment? Or are we talking about people who live in 17th century? Or are we talking about these or these? They are majority, but they're completely different in the approach and support they need. Is this clear what I'm talking about? Can you relate to this to your colleagues in your work environment or people you encounter or your family. By the way, this is the law that it applies to people's attitude towards change or innovation. And what I want to make clear on the margins of this discussion is that there is not a single person in the world, I guess, who is always the same regardless what kind of change and innovation we are talking about. For instance, if you're talking about office tools, word processor, I am not here, I am here. I don't want my word processor to be changed. I don't want new version. I'm skilled in this one, I don't need anything else, and I don't want it to be changed because I know shortcuts by heart and I don't want it to be changed. I don't want the interface to change. I'm here, I'm very conservative. I'm against any change. If we are talking about word processor, but if we are talking about recording my lectures, well, I'm here. Okay? So we can't say that John Joe is always like this, or like that. It depends what we are talking about. Even in a narrow field like applying technology in education. So this curve is valid only when we talk about a very specific item. Now, we are talking about putting technology to work for us and for students in what we call our work, and we call it education. Now, let's look a little bit about each of these groups and see what I believe they need. And I would like to challenge you to challenge my opinion and say, no, I don't disagree, or I think this could be a little bit different. So innovators, we can use some other words to call them. We can call them pioneers. We can call them explorers. We can call them inventors. Those are people with bugs in their head, bubbles in their head, always funny eyes and talking a lot and waving their hands. They are first to invent new ways and new applications. Oh, have you seen? Oh, you know, how can this be done? Oh, look what I've done. They do everything alone. It's very seldom to see two inventors work together. They're individuals, because there's so many ideas in their heads they cannot even reconcile two ideas, not themselves to work. They test on themselves. They don't care to try by themselves. They want to invent something and say, okay, you test it, I'm afraid. No, that's not their problem. They don't have problem with risk. They are willingly taking risk. They also spend their family money on their inventions, very easily. Whatever they have in their pockets, they will use to put in their work and inventions. You can't stop them. There's nothing you can do to stop them. You can throw them in jail, you can forbid them access to school, or you can take away technology from them, but not for long. Innovators cannot be stopped. They do not give up easily. Sometimes they do. It's connected with another thing. Routine is their death sentence. They can't do anything routinely. They're usually very messy and untidy in routine. And sometimes they stop doing something and jump on something else because they have a newer idea. But not because somebody told them don't work on the old one. They're dreamers. Now, if you recognize such people in yourself or your colleagues or somebody you know, what these people need? Do we need them in education? And what do they need to continue doing their job? Well, for these people, the shortest answer is nothing. They need nothing. Well, there is something. What we, as a society or as someone who can influence their work, what we can do, what is mandatory, what we have to do, is legalize their work. We have to publicly and openly say what she does is something good. We would like to see more of her results. They shouldn't be outlaws. They shouldn't be ridiculed. Oh, you know, she always invents something. Don't listen to her. She's not serious. So if we want to have benefits from inventors, innovators in our environment we work in, we have to, those who are respected in the community, or those who make culture or the rules, we need to say, this person is doing something very interesting. If you are afraid to say very good, say very interesting. And we have to carefully look what is he or she doing. Okay, this is something we need to do. Somehow legalize their work. So that they don't have too many obstacles in doing things. This can be regulatory. In our school, in our university, it is welcome to experiment in education. And it's cultural. Not to make livestock of them, not to in any way degrade their meaning and their position in the society. Okay? So it's regulatory and cultural, welcoming such people in our. Optionally, if you really want to do something more, you can provide them resources. They will thank you. Sometimes they won't thank you. They will just grab it and use it. They don't have time to thank. You can provide them education if they want to take it. And you could make some extra benefit if you make their work visible and give them recognition. Everybody needs recognition. Everybody. In one way or another. However, these people are not driven by recognition. If you don't give them recognition, if you make a livestock out of them, well, they won't be happy, but it won't stop them. They will continue doing. So these things you do basically for yourself and for the others that are coming on the next slides, not for the pioneers. So basically, they will do even if they don't have this. But it's good to do that. So shortest, they don't need nothing. Don't need anything. Well, the other group, this is this one here. This one, the yellow, you know. It's the early adopters. Well, early adopters, other words to call them would be entrepreneurs, spokespeople, promoters, fashionistas. You know, those are people, when they see it, they say, huh, what is it? I'd like to have it. Oh, People who immediately, they want to be among first to say something. They immediately recognize the chance, the opportunity, and how to apply it. In a way, this application actually means they're the second line of inventors. The inventors usually invent something genuinely, generically, originally different, while these people, early adopters, say, I can use this when I do that in such a way. So they are more practical. Because inventors sometimes, you don't see immediately practical benefit of this. Early adopters, oh, they do. They know exactly how they will use it in their education or for their school or for themselves for raising their importance. They're usually extroverted. They're often loud and passionate proponents of technology, of something new. And sometimes they seek fame. They would like to be recognized. They said, oh, John Joe is the first one to use it in our school, our classroom, whatever. They're practical. They also are not scared to use their own resources to do things, but they're also willing to take somebody else's resources to do what they want. They're proactive. They wouldn't wait. And they don't wait for permission or to be encouraged to do things. They do this on their own. And this is the place where you can find potential leaders. You can find potential leaders, people who will actually be important for the next slides. Okay? Innovators, no. Nobody can follow innovators. Only these guys can convert what they innovate into something. What these guys need, they need examples. You have to show them what pioneers are doing so they get ideas. Now I know what I can do. Instructions. Okay, that looks great, but how do I do that? You have to explain them how things are done. This is what you need to activate them. Optionally, you can give them resources, education, etc. Extra benefit, again, if you make their work visible. Oops. If you make their work visible. And they like it because they like the recognition. They like it. It's important for them. Okay. Now we come. Now, these, the the percentages that I have given in a graph are ballpoint. It's nothing that can be measured. But it's very low percentage. It's small number of people that you will find in your classroom, in your school, in your university, in your country. There is not many people in any social group. So these two first chapters together are 7 to 15% jointly or something like this, 20. But if you want to have a major change in the educational system, we actually are looking at this too broad line, and first this half, approximately half, which we call early majority. The other one is late majority. Well, they're well-intended, and they're followers. If you tell them to move, they will move. They won't say, no, I don't want. They might ask, why? They need leadership. These people need to be told, we will now apply this in this so and so for the future because of that. And we'll all do it. I say, okay. They do recognize and understand novelties. You don't have to use too many words to explain them why is it good to do that. You do have, explain them why is it good. But you don't have to go into long deliberations and long persuasions. They are predominantly, most of them are extrinsically motivated. They need positive motivation. These are words. You know, this will be good for you because, or if you accept to do that, it will get you. Or it needn't be only you, it can be else. You know, your kids, your students, your pupils will be able to, your school will be. It doesn't need to be about them only. What is very important to understand, that this group of people does not respond very well to threat or punishment. If you try to motivate them, telling them, if you don't do this, then I will punish you in that way, it doesn't work well with this group. They don't react to punishment and threat very well. They get scared, diverted, demotivated. You can't motivate them to do that. They need leadership, but they also need control. You need to look every now and then, what did they do? Did they do what was agreed, what was expected? In a way, it was expected and agreed. You have to give them examples, a lot of examples. Example speaks much more than thousands of words. A lot of examples. A positive motivation. You have to give them positive motivation. Instructions, how to do things. Resources. They need computers, tools, money, whatever. Templates. Education. You have to train them how to do things. With early adopters, you can expect that they will teach by themselves. Today, in the age of internet, they will find out how to do that. Early majority, not really. Not really. You have to prepare some training for them, somehow to organize. They need leadership. They need support. Support, in this slide, support meaning help desk. Support meaning somebody to ask, hey, this has stopped working. Oh, I don't know how to draw this. Hey, I need to program or configure. I don't know how to do it. Can you come and help me? Support means help. Direct help, physical help, solving, resolving problems, tasks, anything they might encounter. And you have to apply some control over what they are doing. That's important. Now, only that you have, if somebody is or will be in the opportunity to make political guidance of the community, of a school, of an academic community, or school community, or country, or nation, or world, in the respect of education, I strongly encourage you to think about what I'm talking and to understand that if you want to make a major change in your environment, then you have to apply it this way over there. First, deal with innovators, move everything that's in front of them, then do everything for early adopters, then for early majority, and only then, when early majority has taken up and you have results and you can show, you can be very important and change is there, change has happened in your environment and everybody can see the change has happened, only then start dealing with late majority. For instance, in this country, we very often, we say, oh, we will change whatever, seating in this room. Oh, but he will be against. Now, what to do with him? Nothing. First, let's deal with those who are willing to change. Okay, now we come to late majority. They're suspicious. Somebody say they are lazy and they're disinterested. We've done hundreds of years education this way, and these computers won't change anything. They're very inert. They do not understand, and they need interpretation. You need to explain them, why would this be good? Why would those computers be important? Why is this internet important for kids? This is rubbish. It's full of rubbish, this internet. It can't help kill children. They will learn worse. It's not good. You have to persuade them. You have to work with them. They want early majority, with only a few words, they will start getting the concept. Late majority, no. You're laughing. Do you recognize something? You recognize some of your colleagues, yeah. Yeah, I could tell, yeah. Eventually, everybody does. Yeah. Even words you recognize. Yeah, I know. They need to be controlled. This is the group of people you have to put control over. You have to push them and punish them eventually if they don't move. You need clearly to explain what will happen to them if they do not do what you say. I'm not able to tell you what to do with a specific person or environment because it depends what you do. But basically, you have to draw them a picture, in 2 days, 2 weeks, 1 year, 10 years. At the end of your career, these bad things will happen to you if you don't start acting now. This is the way you have to motivate them, with what bad will happen to them. The first one, what good will happen to them. This one, therefore I call this negative motivation. Even if they say, okay, they're reluctant, they will not run, rush, and hurry, and when you are not looking, they will try to cut corners. They will try to avoid. Therefore, control. Firm control and strict punishment. Well, I don't mean that you have to beat them or throw them into jail, but they have to be, they have to understand that they've been exposed, that you have realized that they are cutting the corners, they're not doing things, that it's not forgiven, and that the consequences will come eventually. And they are very extrinsically motivated. You have to do everything from outside. What you need? Negative motivation examples, instructions, resources, education, very similar to that one, but modulated. Management. The first one, if you can remember, I said leadership. The best, the simplest, vulgar explanation, what is the difference between leader and a manager? The leader is one who is running in front of everybody else and shouting, come on, come on, this is the leader. The manager, it's wrong, it's not a nice picture, but the manager is the coachman who is saying, run, run. He's having a whip. He's chasing them in front of them. Well, basically that's what they need. Now, finally we have those opponents. Well, opponents in this very particular case are very immobile. They're against any change. Don't count they will ever change. Don't count. Maybe some of them will, but don't count on it. Don't spend your time on it. What to do about them? Well, if you're in charge of changing something, then you need to confront them openly. Openly might mean in front of others. Sometimes it might mean in privacy of a room, 4 eyes only, but openly. No, speaking between words. Very frequently, you are against this, this cannot be tolerated, blah, 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 blah. We do that at the beginning of the change, but only if they are a serious threat. If they are not, don't waste your time on them. At the end, when everything is over and we are looking over the results that we have all achieved, well, because it's only fair that people see that those who have put extra effort to do something differently, they're not treated the same as those who were against. Or if some incident happens. But actually, basically, what needs to be done with opponents, again, the answer is nothing. If you can afford, if they are not really sabotaging what you do, just ignore them. They're not worth your time. As a colleague, as a manager, as a leader, as the one who gives money, they're not worth, because they will always exist. And by the way, we need them. Why do we need people who are against glory things that we want to do? Somebody who is frowning and saying, this won't work, I told you, you see, it is wrong from the beginning. Why do we need them? Well, they are free consultants. They will very frequently point their criticism at important problems, because no good idea, no project, no change is completely, flawlessly perfect and wonderful and without any drawbacks, dark sides. It is. And they will very quickly find, they are like climbers. They will find a way to climb and say, look, you see, I told you you can't. And this is important for us, because the others, we are enthusiastic. Everybody says, yeah, wonderful. But these people will tell us what's wrong, where we have to look carefully and try to avoid things. And by the way, the other day I saw a very old saying that I forgot. It says, if in a group, in a project team, everybody agrees, then either somebody is not thinking or something is terribly wrong with this project. You need somebody who thinks differently for the sake of group dynamics. Otherwise, we don't think carefully and vigorously enough. So basically, opponents, ignore them, but do listen to what they say. It can be a good guideline for you what to take care of. Sorry? No, they don't need anything. You can't make them do what you want. You can't. There is nothing you can do to make me use new text editor. Nothing. The only way is, well, it's not supported anymore. Then I have to switch. Negative motivation. You won't be able to use it tomorrow. Because I don't want to use new text editor. I'm against. Punctum.
But perhaps he's afraid.
Ah, very good point. Perhaps he is afraid. Now, we are talking about what kind of support teachers need in education. So I'm glad to stay after and we can talk about change, why people resist change. One of the things is threat and how to come with it. But this is another lecture. And I'm willing to talk about it in a break. Yes, people usually resist because they are afraid. Consciously or subconsciously. They believe something bad is coming out of it for them. I don't want new word processor because I believe it means for me less productivity, more time using, memorizing new things I don't want to memorize, losing time, getting nothing good. And I'm afraid of that. That my productivity, which is not as good as I would like it to be, will be even worse. Okay. Now, I wanted to make the point that people are different and it depends who you are looking at, and then you can decide what kind of support people need. And you find yourself on this scale somewhere regarding some activity. Now, types of support are political, organizational, methodological, and technological, from my point of view. Political support, you need strategy, policy, regulatory framework, budget. And above all, you need culture. If better teaching is not interesting to anybody in your school, university, or community, everybody believes that they are doing best teaching in the world, and nothing has to be improved. And then when you talk about better teaching, they believe, you're actually implying that I'm not doing, you come to me and say, with these computers and these tools, we can do better teaching. Subconsciously I say, hey, he's telling me that I'm a bad teacher. So if we have a culture where we believe that we are very good, nothing needs to be done, then it's very difficult to implement new technologies, new ways of teaching. So when we talk about policy, political support, it sums up in a culture. What do we believe in? What are our values? And this is the support. Strategy means a document. Policy means a document. Regulatory framework means rules. For instance, I have, with my colleagues, we have designed this tool. It's called Lecto, Lecture Capture Tool, which we believe is the prototype of a digital textbook based on a recorded lecture, which will be, just everybody will using this in the future. Everybody will use this in the future. It will be de facto standard. We believe. We are so arrogant. Now, we would like to test this and to prove this. So how can we do that? Well, scientifically, the only way to do that is to use this tool and some other tools in practice, in real life, with our students. So we have drawn up on a blackboard an experiment. We would give them Lecto tool, just plain recording. We'll give them live lecture, and we'll give them nothing. And then we will make exam at the end. Now, to make this scientifically correct, we actually need to perform this experiment with 4 groups, 4 times. And in each turn, the same group will get another tool, so that we can eliminate the differences between the individuals' abilities of students. To cut this long story short, it turned out that we are not allowed to do this. Because students complain, if you want this to be a real life thing, not an experiment in the lab, then in our teaching, one topic he is going to learn with this tool, and he's going to be marked for that. Now he says, oh, this is not fair because that tool is much better, and I've been given worse mark because I didn't have the right tool. And according to regulation in my school, I'm not allowed to do that experiment, for example. So there is a range of problems like that one where you need a regulatory framework to implement new technologies. Oh, is this allowed? Can I do this? Etc. And the budget. Budget belongs into political support. How much money are we willing to pay? The money is on a slide before the last one. Oops, sorry. Now, what is organizational support? Well, organizational support is visibility, visibility, visibility. Examples. So that I can look anywhere and see examples. Instructions. Give me text, documents, how I can do this. Education, courses, trainings, support, help desk, online support, on-site support. You know, it's been years since people who are in training start understanding that it is not sufficient to bring someone somewhere, teach him new tricks, and send him back into his work environment, regardless of what it is, to cope, how to implement these new things. The best answer is go with him back into his working environment, sit beside him, and help him implement this. Now, this is expensive, complicated to organize, so we very rarely do this. And again, visibility of results also belongs to organizational support. Methodology. Now, this is the core, and I wish we could talk the whole afternoon only about the methodology and the things that you do. I would like to learn from you, show you a little bit what we do. Creating courses. This is a little bit biased because I'm coming from higher education. And in higher education in Croatia, we do have some, no, we don't have. We don't have any formal requirements for a university professor or assistant. We don't have any formal requirements for these people to know anything about teaching. We don't have any. So just anybody can teach without reading one sentence about teaching. Even worse, we don't have, not a book, we don't have one piece of paper, we don't have an envelope on the back side of which is written what is good teaching. We don't have this in this country, and this is wrong. So, how to create courses, how to create materials without technology. Problem-based learning. I'm from technological part of university. Problem-based is a very important thing. We would like to implement this. But how do you do that? How do you manage a group work? When you want them to work on a project, but one is better, the other is worse, how not to punish each other. It's complicated. What is the difference between teaching, coaching, mentoring? How to do good lecturing? This is all, regardless of technology, this is something that needs to be given. And then when we talk about implying technology, so how to do things. This is the key thing, from my point of view, the key type of support that we need. And there is technological, which consists of infrastructure, communication, processing, data storage, information resources, databases, whatever, tools, education, and support. This is all people might need depending how far with the change we go and who do we want to encompass. Is it early adopters, early majority, or late majority? It depends how much of which support we need to provide. Now, how to organize this support? How to organize this? The school I teach at, my faculty, is 500 employees and 4,000 students. It's not a small thing. Now, I believe we are big enough that we should have our own department to support education and technology in education. People who can help with tools. First, a selection of tools. I would like to make animation. Tell me which animation, which tool. To give me a few instructions. If I'm stuck with applying it, they can help me, come to me, change. Using technology, recording, something's wrong, cable is wrong, microphone doesn't work. I believe we should have our own support group. Well, not all people agree. Some believe it is sufficiently to have this for the whole community. For instance, Srce has this activity called Center for E-Learning, and this is the type of unit that might be helping organizationally, structurally. Well, another thing is, okay, we could organize interest groups. People in animations, people in computer-based knowledge assessment, people in recording lectures. Interest group, and they support each other. Simply, out of their free will, even without being paid. It can be organized nationally or internationally. And we could now start adding how to organize support. Well, it depends on the one who is in charge. Who owns education in your environment, in your country, in your town, in your part of the world. Those who own it, those who pay for it, decide how to do that. All of these models have their advantages. What is the advantage if interest group on animation? What is the advantage having support from interest group in animation? So basically these are your peers, teachers as you, who are passionate about using animation. Why is it better than if some organized group is somebody who is paid for is doing this? What do you expect from interest group to have more? Enthusiasm, passion. Because they do this for free. Because they are so passionate about it. And then somehow you expect that with passion, with enthusiasm comes more knowledge and skill, that you will get better support. Well, what's worse? They don't have time to do this all the time. They might not be available. They might say, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore, etc. So who can provide this? Well, we can use existing institutions departments. There are many respected places in the world who have their departments for improvement and advancement of education, and they could also start doing this for new technologies. We can make new departments. We can build peer networks. We can hire professional companies to do that for us. We can use educators' associations. Everybody could. The question is, who should do that? And I can't give you the answer. Everybody here in this room can give the answer who should. And this answer is probably valid from your point of view. The only question is, which one? If you say, he is supposed to do that, what is the question? Sorry? Money. Who will force him to do that? Who will provide resources for him to support you? Money. So we come to the money. Who should pay for it? Well, all these types of support, especially political support when we talk about strategies and policies and regulation, they do have some cost, but it's not very high, and it's one time. You bring it up and you stick with this policy, strategy, regulation for 5, 10, 20 years. So it's, when we talk about cost, expense, it's neglectable. But to have people who will answer phones, come there, program, design, teach, this costs. So who can do this? Well, your institution can do that. They can say, okay, we will hire or we'll pay one of our existing people specifically, or 2 people, or a group of 15 people to do support. And this is the menu of support that they will provide. And we'll give money out of our budget, of the institutional budget. And there are many examples in the world where universities or schools do that. It can be state or regional or city budget. A city like Zagreb is big enough and rich enough to say, we want to have the best schooling in the country, or even broader. And for that purpose, we are establishing our city center for advancement of education. They are spending money on pretty stupid things that cost much more. Well, it's only the question, does somebody believe that better teaching is national, city, regional, or whoever interest? Everybody can give money. They're all invited. Even sponsors are invited. Well, at the end, there is something very provocative. You can give the money. Out of your miserable pay, you can pay someone to support you. If this is important for you. If you believe that your advancement as a teacher and your results, what you do with your students or pupils, is something that is very important for you. Because you will be able to retain your place as a teacher, others will get fired. Because you will get better paid position with the teacher, maybe. Or because you will be happier. Imagine, this is very provocative, but I have to speak about this. Many people in this country who are in teachers' professions say, we are underpaid, we are not recognized, everything is dull, the program we have to teach children or students is inadequate, is antique, old-fashioned, and I'm tired. I'm a little bit, not too much, I'm a little bit depressed. And when you look at their faces and their bodies, you can see that. Now, imagine that they wake up in the middle of the night and there is a fairy. You're on the fairy and says, well, I have one wish granted. Would you like to be happy? Probably everybody will say, I want to be happy. Now, if you would ask them, okay, are you willing to pay something? Are you willing to work 1 hour a day to be happy? Would you say yes? You will be very happy. You will feel very happy. Would you work 1 hour a day to be very happy? You work and in return you are happy. Some people might accept this. Now, we spend 8 hours even more on our work. And if we could somehow pay, it doesn't need to be always money. If we could pay somehow to someone to support us, to do our job great, and see that our creeds are striving, that our students like what we teach them and how we teach them, and that everything is happy and everybody is cheerful, we might end up being happy in our lives without getting better pay. Now, it is asking for sacrifice from us, and I know that some people might even be insulted by what I say, but I'm always trying to find ways, how can I be happier and that I can change it right now. I'm not willing to wait for somebody in the town, in the country, in the government to make some change that will make me happy. I'm a very impatient person. I would like to change this by myself. And I'm willing to pay in one way or another to be happier. No, this is only provocation. How much money? Somebody says, okay, you have convinced me, we need to support teachers. Okay, how much money do you need? Well, it depends what you want to do. And as a provocation again, what is the price of a new building? I can hardly think of anyone who would be in charge of a university, of a school system, and if somebody says, you know, you told me you want to be able to say that you have improved the education system, the school. But, you know, to do that, we need to build a new building. I can hardly think of someone who would say, no, we won't build it. If they tell them, you know, if you want to have better education, we need a new building. Whatever the cost. We'll say, okay. Okay, let's find the money for the building. Let's work and create this building. However, in this culture here, if you come and say, well, we can have very good education in this school, this country, whatever, and we can have the best one, but we need to spend the money like 10, 20 million euros. We won't build anything, but we will support teachers. We'll train them, we'll get them what they need, we'll hire people who will support them to do better teaching. Well, I can hardly think of anyone who will say, oh yes, let's do that. Making a building, okay, let's do it. If we have, we have. But giving money for educating people, it's impossible. I hope that places you come from are different. I hope that in your environment this is completely different and that people do understand that you need to support people to do their job better, different, in a new way. Here, right now, we don't have this culture. So how much money? It depends what you want to do. And I'm always trying to compare it with other things, for instance, with building a new building. Well, and my final slide is, okay, that's been dreaming, enough of dreaming. Now let's talk seriously. What can a poor teacher in whatever school and system do? If you want to do something, you are motivated to use technology, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But nobody understands what you are talking about and there's no support. No official support. What can you do? Depends what you want to achieve. You could sit down on your word processor and design a strategy, policy, initiative, and send it to your school principal or rector or dean or minister of education and say, I propose. And you start the movement. You can seek sponsors. You can find somebody who will give you resources you need. You can try to find other teachers who are like you, and you try to unite, make association, formal, informal, and you try to work jointly. Jointly we are stronger. And you can pest. You know what means pest? It means bothering someone, nagging. Give me this, give me that, you should give me, please give me, give us, give them, do that. And be very, very persistent, pesting, getting on their nerves. So they finally say, okay, I give you, just don't come anymore. This is also a good strategy, also a good way of getting things. You can beg, you can threat, you can design strategies, you can whatever. So in order to get support, in order to help yourself learn, I'm coming back. Why do we need support? To to learn, to get skills, to discuss with someone, to get recognition. We need that people know that we are doing this. It's not only because we will be great, you know, he did it. It's because, oh, they will know, so they will tell me that somebody is doing, I will learn. We will network. We'll get information. So, at the end, I can give you little something from me. Americans like to call this in seminars, take-home value. What can you take with you home? Or they call it free gift, as if gift has to be paid. Spend 90 minutes every evening browsing internet. That's what you can do for yourself to be supported. Don't watch television films. Especially don't watch those airings where people sit around a table and discuss something very important. Don't. Turn it off, turn good music on, and sit and spend one film length of the time, 90 minutes, just browsing internet. Presumably related to teaching, educating, tools, schools, what other people do. It can be just free browsing. You even don't have to have the idea what you want to find. Do that for yourself. Invest 90 minutes in being happy. I challenge you to make one major experiment every half year. Or if you have trimesters 3 times a year, I won't complain. Tell yourself, okay, now summer is coming, we won't be doing anything. But in the autumn, new school year starts. What can I try to do differently? It can be little. Major means it will give you some answer. Major doesn't mean spending millions of money and involving thousands of students. Major means that in your head, something important will be answered or decided. That means major. What can I do? What can I change? What kind of experiment in my teaching can I do in the autumn? And do it. Don't let anyone stop you. Do it. That's what you can do to support yourself. And finally, because all good things come in 3, what should you do to make yourself happy? Why is my head tilted there? What can you do? How? You can't get recognition by sitting in your cellar and not telling anybody what you do, hiding it. The only way to get recognition, to get connected, to get network, to get feedback, to get advices, to get help how doing things differently better, is showing off. Showing what you do. They will laugh at you. They will be afraid of you. They will be badmouth you behind your back. Who cares? Do you know what I say? What is the life cycle of a new idea? First, they laugh at you. Second, they don't understand you. Then you explain. What is the third one? Now that they understand, this is the first one. They ridicule you in the first one. Then they don't understand. Then you explain. Now that they understand what you want to do, what is their third reaction? They're afraid. They're frightened. And what is the fourth stage, the final stage? It is accepted. Everybody does it. And all of these people say, oh, we've always thought of the same thing. We've been always doing it that way. So, being ridiculed, being laughed at, who cares? So, what I can tell you, if nobody wants to support you, but it's not to say that you don't have to do all these things. Do all this. But don't get desperate. If you have the idea, invest some time in looking what other people do, how this can be done, teach yourselves. There's plenty of places where you can learn something. Make experiments, repeat experiments, new one and new one. Keep going. Don't let yourself be stopped. And tell everybody what you do. You'll get feedback, you'll get support. Well, that's what I can do for you today. Now you.